Guys, welcome to yet another week and yet another book which I'll be explaining and talking to you about in this particular week. I hope you enjoyed the previous episode where I was talking to you about the book Deflowered. If you haven't gotten your book already, if you haven't made your pre-order yet, I would advise you to do that now and make sure to share this episode. Make sure to share these episodes. It's exciting times, I tell you. And in this particular week, we're going to be speaking about a book which is close to my heart because I just discovered something about myself within this book and I just enjoy it and I just love it. It is entitled A Letter to My Blesser and Other Stories. Let's get into it. I started writing this book when I was still in college, and it is a close cousin of Deflowered. It comes from the sense of me owning up to my own shit and saying, okay, now that I have been deflowered, figuratively of course, I need to find myself a blesser. So, A Letter to My Blesser and Other Stories is a short story compilation born out of the realization that no matter how much we try and deny it, there's university students out there whose only source of livelihood is their blessers, both male and female. I would like to think that in the story, whose title is also the cover story, I did a fairly good job of taking account of how things turn out when one is in a blesser and a blessee situation. This story is written in the first person perspective. So I want you to imagine P. Smith having a sugar mommy, okay? Good. Now that we have that out of the way, let me explain a little bit in depth of what it is in the book. I tried to keep a low profile with how many stories I include in this book, as I noticed that the more pieces that I included, the higher the chances of risking me spoiling the broth. So I kept it short and enticing, just like a miniskirt. Short enough to entice one's attention, and long enough to cover the important subject. With stories such as Belinda, I speak and stick to the theme of university and college life as related to the book Deflowered, which was mentioned in previous episodes. Because in my mind of minds, there is no way I was going to carry through the story without coherence, without including those in relationships. So, in Belinda, we are exploring a rather strange relationship between the narrator, who in this case I want you to imagine as yours truly, P. Smith, and his longtime girlfriend, Belinda. And I want you to put girlfriend in quotes. It is an account of the sexually charged environment in which university students find themselves once they move into university. Here, I am speaking and portraying these events in a way that addresses that should one choose to be in university, they ought to do their research prior. Otherwise, they would find themselves in a pickle. Again, I am not placing myself as an authority figure, as I assumed the voice of the first person here. It's just a way that I found to be much more powerful as I was narrating these events from within this story particularly. It's quite a powerful story, and I also advise you to look forward to the end of this story because it's also something which I thought maybe as an anti-climax is something that is gonna push you into a perspective of you think and want to consider the consequences, because I truly believe that we are what we say and we are what we believe ourselves to be. And sometimes unforeseen circumstances just come through and we have to be adaptable human beings and find means to deal with these situations. So I would advise you to look forward to this, and it's something that you might not expect considering this beginning of the story, but it's gonna be something which will put you into perspective. Other titles within these books that I've included, You Had Plans and Raki, which is a Shona term for lucky, or I got lucky. I am speaking to the overwhelming plethora of unforeseen challenges that we face as human beings as we come up as we come of age. Here, I speak to these stories as highly hopeful, and I keep them as hopeful as possible without also losing that sense of reality and maintaining that touch with reality. With the multitude of the stories having a backdrop of Zimbabwe and Harare, or more specifically Chitungwiza, my hometown, born and bred, I expect those of you within the diaspora to be whipped with a good dopamine dosage of nostalgia. And in these stories, you will find references to places, people, and events that will surely remind you of growing up in Zimbabwe. And for those of you who may not have a backing to Zimbabwe, I have not forsaken you, as I have also made sure to make it and give accounts in such a manner that anyone can easily relate with. See, I do care after all. Sticking with the theme of the human experience, I would like to end this episode by mentioning that A Letter to My Blesser and Other Stories is an account of a generation uncommon to those before it. As history is known for repeating itself, there is definitely something to pick out from these stories, be it loveless marriages, death, political instability. I mean, who in their mind trusts their government? I mean, come on, guys. That is a thing of the past. This book is already something which I feel like, should you not read it, you'll be missing out a lot. Also considering that there is coherence between Deflowered into these things, into A Letter to My Blesser. It is a whole story altogether that is packaged into bits and pieces. So I would advise you, after you're done with Deflowered, the next thing that you should be picking up is Deflowered. And where do you get is A Letter to My Blesser? And where do you get these books? It is already available for pre-order on Amazon and in Kindle format. And the paperback will be also available starting from the second or third week of January 2024. I will leave the links into the description below, and onto the website. I will also leave a link to my website, which will direct you onto everything with regards to the EP, the books, and the event itself. So it's gonna be exciting times. You're all invited. The tickets are gonna be available on Picket. What you're just gonna be looking for is The Human Experience by Piecemeal. As I always say, as I always end by saying, remember to annihilate the status quo, and the perception of reality is more real than reality itself. Whatever it is that you do, always remember to count your blessings. Until we meet again next time, it's your boy Piecemeal. I am signing out. Ciao. Of course, I'm gonna record everything on one